What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Scott and welcome back to FudgeMuppet. Today, we have a video that's all about seasons. Seasons that should have been in Skyrim. It's just sort of a video where I'm going to suggest a few little improvements that Skyrim could have that they could implement in Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe that's part of an Elder Scrolls 6 wishlist, but this is sort of a hybrid video because I'm going to use Skyrim as an example of what they could have done better. Maybe they were limited by the technology back then. Then again, there are sort of mods that do these kinds of things already, so I don't know. But basically, the gist of this video is that we think seasons should be different during the different months and seasons. So with different weathers and different frequencies of those weathers, I don't know, raining a lot in autumn and snowing, frozen over in winter. And of course there would be certain sections that are always frozen because it's, too cold even in the summer, the icy northern regions. But the gist of what we want and what Skyrim didn't have is things like Whiterun being covered in snow during the winter. The big tundra is just covered in a blanket of snow, and then that snow melts later on and the seasons change. Basically, at a situation where a lot of games do have this, but you'll have like Riften, and it's like this whole forested area, and it's pretty much in a permanent autumn, it looks like. There's all these orange leaves, and it just has this real autumn feel. And then it's like, then you go to Windhelm or Winterhold, and you've got, here's my winter cities. And then you've got sort of the, tundra. It's could be summer, spring, autumn, whatever. But winter happens nowhere except in those specific areas. And you could always say, oh, it's just always the summer. And Skyrim and the lore's been this sort of described as this like frozen wasteland, a lot of it. I just think it would have been a really, really cool dynamic to have seasons. Skyrim looks like now, but then during the winter, it gets into a snowy, cold, and frozen over area, which could have some really, really cool effects on exploration and things to do. For example, I'm just going to go through some random ideas that I had, but you could have like lakes that freeze over in the winter, but you can't get into, and there might be like chests and caves or interesting things underneath, but you can't get into them in the winter. But in the summer, when that ice melts, you can get underneath and you can go and explore these things. Like similar things, you could have like glaciers melting, allowing you to explore caves. Like imagine a big frozen over section of mountain, but in the summer when you come back, that's melted, and then you can go inside and explore, and that'd just be really, really cool. Like working in weather and climate and changes in that to make you feel like you're really in the world, making it all dynamic so you feel like you've lived out an entire year of game time. Granted, you could just, press wait as long as you want until it hits winter or summer, but I think it would be really fun when you're doing the main quest in Skyrim and you start off and it's summer and all the dragons are coming back, but then you go on a side quest to do the Civil War, and you're doing the Civil War for a while, but then all of a sudden, winter comes along, and now you're fighting on frozen wastelands in Whiterun, and it has some really cool applications. You could have, the seasons affect enemies, more insect spidery type things, or, spriggans and stuff during the, forested, summery spring sections of the year. But when it gets to the winter, you can have lots more of the ice wraiths and frost trolls and frost bears and stuff like that. And, big mammoths migrating from sort of certain sections of the map to other certain sections of the map. I just think those kinds of touches would be really, really cool. You could have seasonal stock in shops. Towns could change. This isn't necessarily for Skyrim as such, but imagine a cool example where you have Riften and there's the Ratway, and say that Lake Honric actually gets frozen over, or maybe there's a glacier nearby or something during the winter. Then during the spring and summer months, the Ratway actually gets partially flooded because the glacier is melting, and maybe it forces all the poor and beggars to the high streets of Riften, changing the city dynamically. So during these seasons, you have more guards out, and they're trying to sort of contain this population that's moved down from these Ratway sewer lower areas of Riften and have to move up to the top. This isn't something that I particularly want for Riften. I'm just trying to convey an example of certain things that they could have done in Skyrim, or they could do for Elder Scrolls 6. And then, of course, you have things that a lot of mods have already done, like the wet and cold mods, where, people put on, jackets and coverings and stuff when it's raining or freezing, and they're like all rugged up and stuff, but then they can take off their shirt and chill out in the summer part. I mean, I realize it's Skyrim and it would still be, pretty cold even during the summer, but it's not freezing. It's the difference between freezing and not freezing in Skyrim. So I'm not suggesting that you just actually unfreeze all of Skyrim. I would just like seasonal changes. I think that would just be really cool, and they should implement it into the next games, because there's so many environmental things they could do with it, like certain quests that come in only winter or summer, there's just lots of applications. I mean, I challenge you guys, get down in the comments below and think of just all the applications that winters and summers and seasons of spring and autumn could be applied to the game, like different alchemy ingredients. Imagine that layer, you could just be going around and different ingredients grow at different times of the year. That's, realistically. So all those kinds of cool things, imagine how it could affect questing or exploration or just enemy types, just all that. Get down in the comments below and just hit us up with some ideas and just have a discussion. I just want to be a part of this, see some really cool ideas of how seasons dynamically changing, along with difference in weather frequency and all that, could affect both the landscape and the societies. And yeah, I'm just here to have a cool time looking through some awesome ideas, build upon what I've already talked about. If you want to continue this discussion, get on over to Twitter and follow us all, and we are happy to have a nice little talk all about Elder Scrolls 6 ideas. My name is Scott. Social media links are in the description. Subscribe to FudgeMuppet, and I'll see you next time.